Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clueless Drinker. Hopefully I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because we're in the middle of watching Mad Men. We've been watching it like non-stop. Just like Don Draper, today's beer is dapper. It's somewhat elegant and sophisticated. That's really overselling it. Maltos Barrique style, which is brewed by Perlenbacher. And barrique style, I think that means like barrel style. So I'm not too sure if the flavours are trying to replicate a barrel aged beer or if it has actually been barrel aged. But it's a Doppelbock. This was in Lidl, of all places. Not too sure if this is like available Europe wide in Lidl or if it's just Germany. But yeah, they're doing like a little range of 3 different styles. They've got this Doppelbock, they've got a regular bock, and a Zwickel beer. All of them sound fantastic. And potentially I can try the others in the future as well. This is really, really nicely presented. Very elegant, nice colour scheme, black, silver, it's metallic. And it looks a little bit special. I've already had the other 2 because you get them 3 packs because I did try and actually record this with the first bottle, but I actually went on for about 18 minutes. And there's no way that I'm going to sit through 18 minutes of footage to edit that. So maybe it's better off because I've tried it twice. The first time I tried it at room temperature, and then the second one I tried it chilled. This is chilled as well because I found it to be a much nicer experience. Not that it was bad when it wasn't chilled. Spoiler alert, this is a fantastic beer. This is a Doppelbock that uses Pilsner and Munich malts, and it's also got Amarillo, Cascade and Simcoe hops. So that's quite a hearty selection of hops there for especially something like a Doppelbock. Classic barrel flavour. But yeah, coming in at 7.6%, so it is something of a heavy hitter. And enough talking, let's get this beer poured. So beer in a glass, and that looks pretty damn nice. It's not completely jet black, it's more of a really rich, deep, dark, oaky sort of colour, and it's really nice and light around the edges of the glass. Beer poured with just about 1 finger's worth of tan coloured, really nice, creamy, fluffy looking head. Got some nice compact bubbles in there, and it's got some really nice carbonation going up the side of the glass, which you probably can't see because of the lighting here. But it's a very, very nice looking beer indeed. This is what I think of when I think of a Doppelbock, and it's definitely ticking the boxes in that regard. So I'll give it a quick swirl and give it a sniff. And straight away, I'm picking up an espresso there. There's like a nice bitter chocolate. It's almost got like a milk lactose sort of smell as well. Kind of like a chocolate brownie. And in the background, you are ever so slightly picking up those hoppy notes as well. And the great thing about them is they're not intrusive, and they actually work really well with those rich, indulgent, deep sniffs. But yeah, that smells absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the nicest smelling beers that I've had for a hell of a long time. Really, really nice, warming, rich, roasty, toasty. And looking forward to getting this one sipped. So, speaking of which, as Lane would say in Mad Men, chin chin. That is so good. You get like a really nice sharp chocolate bitterness straight away. This is relatively chilled and it's still so flavoursome. You're getting a really nice coffee flavour in there, ever so slightly smoky as well. And it is really rich and indulgent on the palate. It's a very robust beer. And even though it's got that selection of hops in there, they are playing their part because it is hoppy, but it's not overly fruity. And in fact, it's less tropical sort of fruits and more like a really nice deep berry, cherry sort of characteristic. And it kind of reminds me of something like a really rich and indulgent forest gatto or a nice dense fruit cake, but with that nice chocolatey, caramelly, coffee sort of flavour as well. It's so nicely balanced. But yeah, as you're taking it in, you are picking up, like I was saying, those hops there. Like the bitterness from the hops, the fruity bitterness from them. But they're so well balanced. And yeah, this could have been a recipe for disaster, because as much as I love hoppy beers, I love Doppelbocks as well. And you do run that risk of really messing up those two sorts of styles, even though it's not necessarily a style just because of those hops. But this ticks the boxes. The body is lifted ever so slightly because of those hops. And yeah, this is just an absolutely stellar beer. I was not expecting it to be so well put together. And even though you are getting the alcohol warmth ever so slightly going down, it's not burning the back of your throat. You're not really tasting it. It's really well masked. It's just an absolutely wonderfully blended beer. And you've got all these really quite rich, striking components. And they're coming together really, really nicely. And it's just a really nice medley of flavours, of indulgence. This is one of those beers that you drink after a meal instead of a dessert, or just drinking it on its own if you just want a nice, rich, indulgent treat. If you were going to mix this with something, it would probably go really well with some nice fresh bread and some really strong mature cheddar. It's a really, really complex little beer, and I'm only, skimming the surface of what I'm picking up with this beer. Every sip of it, you're picking up new things, and you're picking up characteristics of, that hoppy cocktail. But on the other side, you're getting these characteristics of the Doppelbock. And if you're a fan of hoppy beers, if you're a fan of Doppelbocks, and you can source this beer, definitely give it a go. It says that it's like a barrel flavoured beer, and you are getting that impression. I picked up on the smokiness, and now I'm thinking about it, you are getting like an ever so slightly woody, oaky sort of flavour in there as well. It's just what you expect when you hear a rich, indulgent Doppelbock, and it's quite possibly one of the best Doppelbocks that I've had for quite a while. I really can't fault this beer at all. I really can't. Some people might want those hops to play a bigger part in the beer. I think it would completely be a detriment to the beer itself. It'd be confused, it'd be quite sickly. But yeah, it's like having a big chocolate cake that's got maybe some cherries or berries on there as well, maybe some jam in between the layers of cake. And yeah, it's like the best pudding you've had, but in a drink form. I can easily give this a 10 out of 10. Just because I can't fault it. It's an absolute bargain, and that's another reason why it's a 10 out of 10 beer. It's an absolutely fantastic beer, one of the best beers that I've had this year. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the Clueless Drinker playlist down below, even though that's a redundant statement since this is the Clueless Drinker channel. I'll put links down below to the brewery and this beer and whatever else I can, because this is one that you have to try. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this beer, and I hope whatever you're drinking, you're enjoying too. See you guys later. Chin chin.